Hi guys, welcome back to a new podcast of William Eaver and Kyle's Temporary Podcast. So today we are going to be talking about NXT UK and Progress. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, Carl. I mean, again, with the name, I appreciate it, but it's Kyle's Wrestling Podcast with the temporary
Yeah,
co-host, William Eaver. I'm
that's what I
temporary
mean.
co-host. Your podcast is going to go on forever, man. I reckon you're onto a winner here, sir. But I'm really good,
Thank you.
Carl.
Good. I'm glad you're okay.
Me too. Me too. Hashtag me too.
Hashtag me too. Oh, have you been up to much recently?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone follows me on the socials at The Believer on Instagram or at WWE The Believer, you can see I'm pretty much up to many things. I'm coming for NXT UK like a bad smell, and everything else in between. Also, I will add, just to put it out there, I am on the WWE network, so subscribe. It's only $9.99, and you can watch a lot of Progress's back catalogue, which includes me. So subscribe, and you can watch NXT UK. So plug.
So on today's podcast, how old are you? Yeah. So we are going to be talking about NXT UK. So last night on NXT UK, it also kicked off with Volta versus Saxon Huxley. This was not a title match, but it was a really good match. Both men were really fired up. Saxon Huxley went to get a steel steps and unsucceeded, obviously, because the ref wouldn't let him. He picked him up, but never got anything back from it. So and then Volta was really, really fired up last night. He kept chopping him. He used quite a few suplexes and a butterfly suplex on the top rope. I think both men are just brilliant competitors, and
Well, I'll jump in there. I didn't watch the old NXT UK last night, but it says here that Walter defeats Saxon Huxley in 609. Now I also add that 69 is my favourite number. But I saw a clip on Twitter with Saxon Huxley going wild with the steel steps, and I thought, why are you going to go wild with a pair of steel steps when you could go wild on Walter? I saw that, and Artemis got involved, doing what a good thing a referee should do: get involved, stop the wild man with the steps from attacking the champion. Because if you hit the champion with steel steps, you're going to lose. You're going to lose, and you're not going to get the belt. So I think it's a very silly move on Saxon Huxley. I've tussled and wrestled with him in the squared circle, and I think I see he was unsuccessful, as it says here. Walter defeats Saxon Huxley at 609. So seems like a bit of a squash number there, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I will say is Volta is very, what's the word? He's very confident in the ring, and he doesn't like disrespectfulness in the ring. And I think this just fired him up even more when Saxon Huxley messed around with the steel steps, and it made him more angry, and not like he needs to get any more angry, if that makes sense. But
it makes sense. I see what you mean. Like I said, I think it's a silly maneuver from Saxon.
Yeah.
He needs to go back and think about his choices. You want to go for Walter, and you know that his predominant maneuver is the chop, because he has a very almighty chop. So if I was to go before Walter, I'd know the chop was coming, and I would quite frankly expect the chop, counter it, grab him with a sort of wrist lock like maneuver, and drop the big man. Because I just think with a sweet touch of the wrist, a sweet twist with the wrist, as I've learned under great tutors such as Marty Jones, I know I could take the big man down with just a wrist lock. So I wouldn't go for the steps. I'd go for his weakness, which is possibly a wrist lock.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. So with the suplexes that Volta performed last night, I think were just amazing. And the butterfly suplex off the top rope, which pretty much finished Saxon Huxley off, I think Volta just studied it all out and knew what he was doing, like he always does.
No, I agree. I know the strength of Walter. He calls himself the ring general. fair play. He's no general like I, but in the ring, he might consider himself to be. He's the head trainer at the WXW Wrestling Academy, and he's been around long enough. So never underestimate. And, you know, these are all kind of things that I'm going to use within my arsenal come the day in which I stand before him, because I won't allow myself to go to the top rope. And suplexes, I know reversals. So, again, this is all studying without even watching. You're giving me the knowledge, and I'm going to knowledge to my ability.
Yeah, that's true. So during the break last night, Jack Stars confronts Saxon Huxley and says, "Better luck next time." In my eyes, I think this could turn into a feud in the coming weeks, and I think I would like to see Jack Stars get more of a chance in the ring in NXT UK. And to be honest, I know he probably won't be champion for a long time yet, but he's getting there. He's getting himself out there, which I think is really good.
Is that Jack Stars you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah, Jack Stars. Oh, yes. He's definitely one guy that I've trained with, and I've actually shared a ring. He's one heck of a wrestler, trained by Robbie Brookside. The guy forearms harder than anyone I've ever stepped in the ring with, and his condition is second to none. And he has the intensity, I believe, of a Dynamite Kid stroke Chris Benoit. And yeah, definitely I could see him being an absolutely possible contender for Walter's title. He's definitely not someone to be overlooked or underestimated. So yeah, Jack Stars calling out Saxon. I mean, no disrespect to Saxon, but I think that's kind of like, I think Stars should be aiming a little higher, seeing as Saxon come up second best against Walter. I think he should be set on Walter. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I would like to see us. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, was he was calling out Saxon, not Walter? Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, why would you want to call out the loser? I mean, for me, if I was to come out, if I was in Jack Starr's position, I would have been like, yeah, better luck next time. See you down the road. Here, big daddy boy. Hey, big baby man. Let me tell you something. You beat him, but you ain't seen nothing like me. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. But yeah. I understand he's got to prove himself. But if Saxon's the loser, why are you going after the loser? You want to go after the winner. Tell me I'm wrong.
100%. So, and then they announced the Heritage Cup, the rules. So it's 6 to 3 minute rounds. So it's quite a long match, sort of, for this kind of style wrestling. They will receive a 20-second break between rounds. And once a fall occurs, the round ends. Winning 2 falls equals victory. Disqualification or knockout ends the match. William, what do you think about this?
Well, to me, it sounds really good, because it's just basically the classic golden era of British wrestling, the world of sport. So it's just basically world of sport rules, which, if anyone listening, look up YouTube and look up some quality wrestling in the world of sport. Check out some what's his name? Top of my head, he was King Ben's son in top of my head, he was very much akin. Like, check out Johnny Saint, check out Marty Stone, check out just check out World of Sport, and anything you see, click on it, because the heritage rules, it is just that. It is the World of Sport style, which was absolutely fantastic in its time. In this modern era, could it hang? Yeah, if you've got good enough wrestlers that can wrestle to that ability, which is quite a rare. It's one thing to wrestle a mat wrestling style, but it's another one to keep it entertaining. And it's the real good wrestlers out there, I feel, that can make chain mat wrestling entertaining. They're the Terry Thatchers, Timothy Thatchers, Jack Gallagher's, who's no longer with the WWE, but regardless, a very good mat-based wrestler. Even Jack Stars, I know his ilk. Even myself, I'm not a lot of people know that I'm a very well-versed mat wrestler, but you know, I don't need to mat wrestle when I can absolutely annihilate you with my madness and wild-like ways. But I'm also very controlled at the same time. But enough about me. I really like the sound of it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. It goes back a bit from the older wrestling, as you say, and I just think they're bringing something new into WWE. So let's see how it goes.
Well, I wouldn't really say it was new. It is new in the sense of the WWE taking it, but again,
yeah,
I think I hope it's done well. I've seen a few competitors. The wrestler I was thinking, if you're gonna go back and watch World of Sport, look up Kid McCoy. Kid McCoy versus anybody. Fantastic. He was so good, and he kind of he come in just as World of Sport was coming to an end, unfortunately. But he was
Oh,
one of my favorites when I started to get back into it. So check out Kid McCoy. But yeah, I agree. Like WWE trying to not reinvent the wheel, but go back on itself, or at least you say
yeah,
WWE, it's NXT UK. NXT UK is
yeah,
its own brand. It's affiliated with WWE, but then so is Progress.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's who are the competitors? Because I've seen Pete Dunne, Pete Dunne, but not much of anyone else. I think Noam Dar's in it. Who else is in it?
You got Noam Dar, A Kid. Hang on. Trying to think. Yeah, you got Trent Seven, Noam Dar, A Kid. Um, Alexander Wolf. Trying to think off the top of my head here. Oh, sorry about this.
No, don't be sorry. Like I said, I've got a picture here from what I can see. So you've got Dave Mastiff, A Kid, Noam
Yeah,
Dar, Joseph Connors, Pete Dunne, Pete Dunne, Pete Dunne, Pete Dunne. No, so you got Joseph Connors, Dave Mastiff, Pete Dunne, Noam Dar, A Kid, Alexandra Wolf, uh, Trent Seven. I think that's about the lot, the mix, and it's a very good mix, I'll say, because
yeah,
you've got different sizes, different or different years of experience. Pete Dunne, and I think it's a really good mix, and they're all well versed in mat wrestling. They bring some, each one of them brings a kind of unique style to each. So I think it's well, the participants are well done in terms of Pete Dunne being in this bracket. So yeah, I'm really it looks good. It's something that actually intrigues me. It might actually want me to subscribe to the WWE Network, only $9.99. So I get 3 months trial. Yeah. Have you got what? Who would you back in this race for the Heritage Cup? Who would you say would be your favourite to win it, Carl?
well, I have to say Alexander Wolf or Trent Seven. Two absolutely. I'm not saying all the others aren't amazing, but to me, those two are just outstanding in my eyes. What about you?
Well, do you know who I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with A Kid because from the picture I see here, A Kid, he's so good. I believe he has a Dave Meltzer 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, 5 star rated match, with
Wow.
Zack Sabre Jr. somewhere. Um, but
Oh,
if Dave Meltzer give it 5 stars, I definitely wouldn't give it 5 stars. But I bet it was a really good match. But yeah, A Kid. There's something about A Kid I really like. He seems like a very humble, hardworking talent, and I see the way they're kind of using him at the minute and kind of promoting him. So I'm gonna back A Kid in the
yeah.
Heritage Cup.
I think A Kid's a really good wrestler. I saw him live at Chapter 101, which I believe is also on the WWE Network. Progress.
That's
Um,
only $9.99. Subscribe.
yeah. Versus Paul Robinson. He put his absolute best into that match. Unluckily, he didn't come out, but I think I think he could. He's got this in the Heritage Cup, and hopefully he'll get far. So
Yeah, I reckon if he doesn't win it, I reckon he'll have a good run. But I'm going to back Akid. There's something about just in the strength of this picture that I've seen with Joseph Connors and Dave Mastiff smiling lovingly into each other's eyes, with
mm,
Pete Dunne in the middle, looking at Joseph Connors, thinking, "Why are you looking at Dave Mastiff?" Or Dave Mastiff smiling at you, and Akid just standing there very humbly, like, I'm winning this, right? So yeah.
yeah. So at the start of the Heritage Cup announcement last night, Pete Dunne came out and made a speech, and I'm quite happy to see Pete Dunne back in the NXT UK. Whether he's going to compete at all, I don't know. There is some news that I found out last night, which I'll go through later on in the podcast. But the draw came out, and the first draw was Joseph Connors versus the Bomber Dave Mastiff, which I think is
When
going to
it
be a
says here
very.
on his Twitter, it says Dave Mastiff, Hoss of Hosses. What's a Hoss?
I have no
Has he
clue.
spelled boss wrong? Is it boss with a H?
I don't know.
Oh, well, Also, we've overlooked someone fundamentally. Because I've got a picture here. It's Flash Morgan Webster. I've got a lot of time for Flash. He's looking an absolute don at the minute with
Yeah,
A-Kid. So that might brackets.
yeah. Flash Morgan Webster, another brilliant wrestler who I wouldn't say he's underrated, but isn't out there as much as I think he could be.
Yeah, I agree. If we delve into Flash, I will say my debut wrestling match for Progress at Endeavour was Flash's debut match at Progress at
Oh,
Endeavour.
really?
My first match. Yeah, you can look it up on YouTube. Myself versus Flash Morgan Webster, and I really enjoyed it. I really like Flash. He's an incredible talent. He's been putting in a lot of work in the gym as of late, and he's looking like a don. Like he looks really good, and it's him and A-Kid in one of the first round brackets, which kind of makes me kind of consider my thought. But I still reckon Flash is in a hot spot, and I agree he's kind of been overlooked. But I think there's areas in which he has improved on from what I have seen that will make him like stand out. So A-Kid and Flash, I think that match will be the most important match because I think whoever wins that first round bracket, I feel will go all the way. So Pete Dunne seems to be
100%.
Pete Dunne standing in the middle of all of these. So the way I'm going to call it is A-Kid versus Pete Dunne in the final. A-Kid is the winner.
Yeah. So I think in this match between A-Kid and Flash Morgan Webster, I think it's going to be an absolute high flying match, speed, because they're both really fast competitors. I think it's just going to be a fast action match.
No, I agree. Like I said, they're both young, agile, and very well versed in high flying. I think obviously Flash might have the one over on A-Kid in terms of high flying ability, but I think A-Kid's mat wrestling. And just there's something about A-Kid. I'm really behind him. In this picture I'm also looking at, you've got Flash shaking A-Kid's hand.
Yeah.
Pete looking at the handshake, that looks a bit weak. But then there's Noam Dar in the background, like it looks like he's off doubting himself, like, hold on a second, a couple of months ago I was on Raw. What am I doing here? Like I don't really know.
Yeah.
Like lot of things can be said in a picture, but that's what I see. But yeah, I definitely think I think that match will be the most telling of the entire tournament, the Heritage Cup tournament, I feel.
100% agree with you there. So then we have the wild card versus Trent Seven. Now I have no clue who this wild card is going to be, but Trent Seven, hopefully.
Wild card? Hey, hold on a second. Yeah. I'm the wild card. I'm wild card William Eaver. And I'm telling you, I haven't got email telling me otherwise. So unless they're going to call me up on the day and say, hold on a sec, we've overlooked you, pal. It's you versus Trent Seven tonight. I'll be like, hold on, I'm washing my hair. Better luck next week. All the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, so that's that match. And then we have Noam Dar versus Alexander Wolf. And when this got announced last night on NXT UK, it got heated up a bit with Pete Dunne as well. So Noam Dar was chatting crap about Alexander Wolf. And then Pete Dunne comes in, steps in, goes to snap Noam Dar's fingers and throws him out of the ring.
Oh, okay. I mean, what's Pete Dunne's role here? Is he not just another competitor? He sounds like he sounds like he's running things like he's the GM or something. Who's Pete Dunne wrestling? Quite.
I don't think he's wrestling anyone.
Isn't he? Okay, I thought he was in it. Was he overlooking the thing? Is he holding the cup to give to someone? I mean, realistically, Noam Dar, Alexander Wolf, to me, I don't see any of those two going anywhere further. They're just going to be fodder to either A-Kid or if Pete Dunne's in it, Pete Dunne. And no disrespect to either competitor. They're both great wrestlers, Alexander Wolf and Noam Dar. But I think right now, in both their collective or respective careers, they're going nowhere fast. And I think Noam Dar, who's I really like Noam. I've had the fortune of retiring him from Progress back at Chapter 20 when I stepped in for Dave Mastiff, I believe, at the last minute, because this is what I usually do.
Watching that match.
Yeah, it was a really great match, and I took a lot from that match after defeating Noam Dar, of course, with the clothesline from heaven. He probably still hasn't forgot that. Unfortunately, Noam Dar seems to be in a sort of mute point in his career, which is really unfortunate because the talent he has is being wasted, in my opinion, and he should be doing a lot more. But hopefully, I'm incorrect in saying that Alexandra Wolf and Noam Dar's match will be like one of those piss break matches, for lack of a better term. I hope that I am wrong. I don't hope I'm wrong, but like I hope they kind of Because to me, that just kind of sounds like, yeah, you're just making up the numbers, but they're both incredible talents in their own right.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And I forgot to say about this match, Pete Dunne is going to be the guest referee.
So what, is Pete Dunne guest reffing all the matches? I mean, Pete Dunne was.
I don't know.
I thought Pete Dunne was competitive. Is he the wild card? Is that the sort of the kicker that Pete Dunne turns up as the wild card?
It could possibly well be, but I know what happened last night. The reason why he's the guest referee is because last night it all kicked off with Alexander Wolf and Noam Dar, and Sid Scala said near the end of the show that they had no one. He didn't know how they were going to do this match, and Pete stepped in and said, "I'll be the guest referee." So,
well, here's another one that I've kind of half acknowledged just through a few pictures I've seen. I've only seen one of them with Sid Scala looking very nice in a burgundy suit. I actually wrestle in a burgundy suit, so fair play. Could Sid Scala do the same? Anyway, Pete Dunne seems to be running the show in that ring more than the assistant general manager, which is Sid Scala. Why is Pete Dunne disrespecting the assistant general manager for a start? And more importantly, why isn't the assistant general manager asserting his control and saying, hold on, Pete, you ain't the man round here. You're just part of the roster. I'm the one who's running this. Second, the great Johnny Saint. I think Sid Scala needs a kick in the tushy and, you know what I mean, being a bit more enforceable, enforcing the law. Because Pete Dunne here, he needs a stepping down, needs to be humbled. And I have one victory over Pete Dunne. The only ever time we stepped in the ring was for good wrestling. If Pete remembers, I was the Progress World Champion in another promotion, and he succumbed to the clothesline from heaven also. So Pete Dunne, he's looking double A hard in his lovely polo shirt with his topped up button. I would have had the top button undone because that's a bit too restrictive on the neck. Let me breathe. Pete Dunne needs a step down. He needs to be taken off this pedestal that he thinks he's on. No disrespect, Pete. I've got a lot of respect for you. But bear in mind, you're just another bare bum in the shower. So Sid Scala, put him in check. Noam Dar, if he's reffing this match, he's already gone unbiased against Noam Dar. So I don't think it's fair to have Pete Dunne as the man in the middle when he has no reason to be in there. If anything, he shouldn't even be involved in that match. He shouldn't even be in the building if he's going to go on like that, quite frankly.
I totally agree with you there. And I think the reason why it's like he's running the building is because he was the longest reigning NXT UK champion. And no disrespect to Pete, but I still don't see how that's fair on all the other guys because he was the longest reigning champion.
Yeah, that's nothing. What does it mean? You're the longest reigning champion, but you're no longer the champion. I could be one of the shortest reigning champions in Progress World Wrestling history. Yeah, but my moment will outshadow the majority of other winners. Who remembers Cara Noir's win at Progress Chapter 101? Absolutely no one against Dragunov. Yeah. They were talking about me throwing the Ojmo into the 7th row at Camden, and they're still talking about it to this day. They're not actually, only I'm talking about it. But regardless, no disrespect to Cara Noir, no disrespect to Pete Dunne. But regardless, if you were the longest reigning champion in UK wrestling, WWE United Kingdom wrestling history, if you're no longer the champion, it's just a scratch in the record books. Get yourself in check. Get on Walter. Don't waste your time here. Walter's your man. He took the belt off you. Take it back off him, Pete. That's all I got to say about that. Tell me I'm wrong.
I totally agree with you there. So and then after that, we had the next match, which was a tag team match between The Hunt and Pretty Deadly. I have nothing but respect for both teams, but especially Pretty Deadly. They're just an amazing team, so nice in person, and they have a good title. They have a good run going in NXT UK. Not a title run because they don't have the titles, but yeah, they have a good run going.
You know, I agree. Like I have respect for all four competitors in this match. Obviously, Pretty Deadly, Lewis Howley and Sam Stoker, Sammy Smooth Stoker. You know the strength of our guys because, believe it or not, we're still part of a little faction in Progress called Do Not Resuscitate, or the Forgotten, as I like to have affectionately called most of us. I have a lot of time. They're both strapping lads, great condition, great money-making ability, and yeah, they gel so well. Great tag team prowess and all that great stuff. Yeah, I've got nothing but respect and time for both of those guys, and I wish them all the best and all the luck in the world. And I definitely think they are on the cusp of getting some tag team gold? Is it Gallus that are holding them, or is it those veteran boys?
Yeah, it's Gallus.
Is it Gallus? Okay, so I guess it's not Joel Coffey, Wolfgang and Mark. Yeah, and it's really good. The Prime as well. Is it? Sorry, no. Is it the Hunt? Sorry, Jason,
Hunt,
Justin, Primate, and Wild Boar. Two fantastic individuals, double AR'd, both in fantastic condition. I don't know the outcome of this match, but yeah, like what did you see? What did you think of the match?
I thought it was a really good match. Both teams really fired up. But what can you expect after being locked in for ages, not being able to wrestle? Pretty Deadly have a good run going, and they came out of the match with a win. Pretty Deadly did.
Oh wow, that is really like wow, that's really good. That's a stronger win in the old win bracket for Pretty Deadly. Really happy to hear that, because like I said, they're definitely a team to look at, and I don't see no Janetti with those boys. I see two Shawn Michaels. Like I said, both young strapping men who are in prime position. Both as singles competitors could go anywhere they wanted to, and the only thing holding them back would be themselves, quite frankly. So yeah, I'm really happy to hear they come on top, and I wish them all the best, and hopefully sooner or later they're standing before Gallus, or standing over them, better still, as the NXT UK Tag Team Champions.
That's 100% what I'm hoping. I really hope that they become champions soon. They when they debuted at NXT UK and carried on going, they hadn't had a lose, I don't think, and they kept winning and winning, and they got another win in the bag, and they're just going really well. And then at the end of that match last night, Eddie Dennis comes up to them and says something, but no one knows what he said to them. And I have a feeling that is something about some of the teams, maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe Eddie Dennis was like trying to tell him that they might have detention coming up or something. Because I genuinely think former head teacher of a school, Eddie Dennis, he has all the potential to possibly be ahead of a great faction as the Demon Headmaster, in my opinion. You know, the Pride of Wales and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Eddie, great man, 6'7", very good in-ring competitor. I've wrestled with Eddie, tussled him a few times. Never underestimate the big Welsh giant. Yeah, he's whispered something in his ears. Hopefully it was something like, you know, you've got to write 7 lines out on a blackboard using pink chalk or something. But yeah, I hope Eddie's looking to try and recruit. And if he is trying to recruit, Pretty Deadly should kind of knock down the head, because they don't need Eddie Dennis. They need a nice valet with them than Eddie Dennis, in my opinion. But yeah, Eddie Dennis comes out. Wow.
And then it was time for main event. That was between ex-friends versus ex-friend. Piper Niven versus Kaylee Ray for the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah, that's really good. I actually saw on Twitter, I saw a little kind of clip from that match, and yeah, they're both they know each other so well. Two girls from Scotland. They know each other from ICW, Eve, and other sorts of promotions where they've worked against one another. And yeah, I saw a really tasty super kick. Kaylee Ray delivered with all the precision of Shawn Michaels in his prime. Yeah, what was the outcome of that match? Did Viper retain? Or sorry, did Kaylee Ray retain? Sorry, I know Viper was the contender to the gold.
Well, so this was a very interesting match and quite sad at the same time. So Kaylee Ray went to collide with Piper Niven into the steel steps, and she connected her knee to the steel step, and she was going to get taken off the match. But then when they were going to take her backstage, Piper came up to her and slapped her. Kaylee went back for her. They went back in the ring, and they carried on fighting. And Kaylee Ray won the just won the match.
She retained. Well, that's interesting. So they basically stopped the match because Viper had hurt her knee, yet they still allowed her to continue. I mean, I've got a bone to pick with wellness here, because quite frankly, if she'd hurt her knee, the medics should have called time on that match. So I think NXT UK's doctors and medics, they need to be called into a room, and there's a meeting should be said, because if the competitor has hurt themselves, allowing them to go out and potentially further injure themselves, I mean, it is on the performer, but more importantly, it's on management, and that's a bad move. Again, I'm going to call Sid Scala's general managing assisting into repute here, because quite frankly, that should not have been allowed to continue. So Viper's put herself in a compromising position, which could have hurt her in the long run. And Kaylee Ray is nothing to be sniffed at. She's a top competitor. That's why she is the NXT UK Women's Champion. Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm more upset with the Medics than I am Viper's decision to try and continue, because I know all about continuing matches with an injury. So, I mean, I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I'm quite annoyed that Kaylee Ray had to carry on the match with being injured. Could have done serious damage and maybe made more serious damage to her knee. Carrying on the match.
Excuse me, it was Kaylee Ray. So Viper's continued, regardless of who it was. The main point here is that regardless of the championship, if the woman can no longer continue, she won the match, fair play. But like sometimes your health is better than wealth. So to drop the gold, or however it would have been, I guess it was stubborn, foolish pride. But she still come out on top. So you got to admire that at the same time.
100%, yeah. And then after the match, Ginny comes out and she just stands there really. And I'm just wondering, are we looking at a new champion, or I don't know. It was very confusing. She was just stood there doing nothing.
Kyle, would you stop? Now, absolutely 100%. I mean, there's no denying the absolute level of ability Ginny has as an in-ring performer. And her mere presence, you said she just stood there, but I guarantee you, with her just standing there, she probably got a lot more across, because I haven't seen it myself. I bet she got a lot more across with a stand and a stare than you would have done by throwing steel steps or hitting someone with a chair
100%.
or saying a word. So
it's more mind games, isn't it?
I laughed just the way in which you kind of described it, but I get what you mean. That's just my sense of humor. But at the same time, definitely, Ginny is. There's a lot of good female talent within the NXT UK division. You've got Ginny, as we're discussing. We've got Nina Samuels. We have obviously Viper. We've got Fire Brookside, amongst others. Tony Storm, I believe, is in and out. It's fantastic. Like great cool roster. But definitely, I feel Ginny, two-time Progress Women's Champion, Rev Pro Champion. She's been champion up and down the country. It's about time Ginny got a shot at the title, and I would be 100% behind Ginny as the NXT. I would definitely have her back in her as the next NXT UK champion. No denying that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you there. We need a new champion, and I think Ginny's capable of being a new champion.
Too right. Because, like 100%. It's funny you say we need a new champion. I haven't seen much of Kaylee Ray's run, but unfortunately that would be down to the circumstance in the world we're having. So that obviously has had an effect, lockdown and all that good stuff. So, definitely Ginny versus Kaylee Ray would be an absolute great match. I know both of these competitors are one of my favorite wrestling matches I've ever seen, female wrestling match. One of my favorite matches, I believe it was, it wasn't Miko Satomura. Was it Miko Satomura and Kaylee Ray for Eve at York Hall a few years back? Had me
I'm
on
not
the
sure.
edge of my... Yeah, and I believe it might have been Miko Satomura versus Kaylee Ray. I definitely know it's Kaylee Ray at York Hall for Eve's big event at York Hall. And still to this day, I'd say it's one of my favorite professional wrestling matches that I've witnessed live. So never underestimate Kaylee Ray. She's a great great NXT UK champion, another one who's held titles up and down the country. Hasn't held the Progress World title, which Ginny has held twice. So Ginny has that in her arsenal. Kaylee Ray's the champion. She has that in her arsenal. But as we've discussed, she has the compromise of like a bad knee. We don't know the strength of that. And she continued on that bad knee, which only further brings it into question. So it's good to hear that, I feel, because Ginny seems to have been overlooked, like a Noam Dar sort of vibe. Her career in NXT UK has been consistent. She's had some good matches. She had that kind of wafty partnership with Alpha Female, who is about as alpha as a dog lost looking for his owner. But I'm really glad to hear that. I didn't see that. So, that's something to keep an eye on, keep tabs on. And I potentially, like Pretty Deadly, I could see a change of the guard in NXT UK with tag titles and women's titles. So that's something to look at. That's another thing that my intrigue grows for this brand.
100%. So that's the end of the NXT bit. What do you think is going to change to Progress when they come back?
Well, ownership. Now, I'm going to bring something up here, Carl, that I've just been looking at. It says here, major changes for NXT UK backstage and new head writer announced. And this is very
Oh,
been a huge shake-up within NXT UK. NXT
oh,
UK has only recently come back on our screens following the ongoing pandemic, as we've briefly touched upon.
yeah,
The report states former Progress co-owner Glenn Joseph, good man, who was a producer,
yeah.
has left due to personal reasons. Okay. In his place,
Oh,
Progress founder Jim Smallman has now been announced as new head writer. Now that calls things
oh,
into question. You know, obviously, again, this is Progress founder who was a writer for
yeah.
Progress, who had a few dealings with my sort of career projection. But yeah, he basically says there's it says there's no change in top level leadership as Smallman will report to Matt Bloom and the legend Shawn Michaels. I'd like to say the legend Matt Bloom and legend Shawn Michaels because they're both legends in their own respect. And yeah,
Yeah.
apparently it was a Zoom call. Glenn Joseph had to step down from his position at
Oh,
Progress due to the speaking out movement. Forgot to mention hashtag
oh,
speaking out. That's another
yeah.
thing we could delve upon. But realistically, I don't really want to speak out about the speaking out movement because, quite
No.
frankly, it's bump. Um,
Yeah.
but that's another story. Take that however you want. I don't care. Tweet at me, believer, WWE believer. And yeah, it's a real unfortunate shame that Glenn Joseph has left the NXT UK, stepped down as it says. And I mean, it's interesting to see Jim Smallman as head writer
Yeah.
because I believe a few years ago he applied to be a writer for the WWE in the States. So he's got his job
Oh,
now, his
really?
dream job. Oh, yeah, so let's just hope he doesn't. He makes the most of it. He makes the most
Yeah.
of it. And if he had any sense, he'd come and talk to me. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. So, what changes do you think there will be in progress, when it
Oh,
comes back?
well, I know there's two people now that are in charge, and I don't really understand the strength of it. James Armner, who has a strong background in music and promoting in the music levels,
Okay.
and Lucy Cave, who is big, strong gifts or whatever. I don't know the strength of what she's going to bring to the table in terms of a management position within Progress, or I don't know the strength of her level. It's not
No.
undermining her, but I just what business does she have within Progress Wrestling? And obviously John Briley, who's a WWE producer for the NXT UK brand. I don't know what. I honestly don't know. I'm slightly concerned, if I'm honest. I'm really concerned for the future of Progress because how can you juggle an independent brand in quotation marks and the UK brand for NXT? How can you do
Yeah.
both and give a sustainable product that is different, one or different the other? So, um, you know, only time will tell. But like I said, Smallman was the writer at Progress during its boom period, but then also at its time of which it started to decline, which was probably after my title win. It kind of went downhill from there. If I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I have no future dates for Progress. I'm still currently suspended because I don't think they've had 3 shows since my suspension coming to force from January 23rd. So it'll be
No.
very interesting to see.
Yeah, I
And
100%
as I
agree
said,
with you. I just hope that they don't get shut down or anything when they do come back, and I hope they just hopefully they'll just be as strong as they were, really.
well, I hear you. Like, there's no chance of them shutting down, because
Yeah.
they do kind of have an half backing from the WWE to a degree, or allegedly.
Yeah.
Don't take my word for it. But the only thing that will be harmful to Progress is whether or not the fans want Progress back. Because if you've got an NXT UK brand which is fairly similar to the Progress model and Progress, I mean, what would you rather go and see? You want to see something with WWE plastered all over the front of it, unfortunately. Whereas Progress, I think Progress needs. I don't know what Progress needs. Maybe Progress needs me. I don't know. Who really
Yeah.
knows? Progress have a great roster anyway that isn't currently signed. You've got Coron Noir as the champion. Um,
Yeah.
I'm trying. Uh, excuse my ignorance. I'm trying to think who the tag team champions within Progress are at the moment because there's been absolutely
Yeah.
zero kind of exposure or promoting. Although I understand the downtime, at the same time use that downtime effectively. Who's the women's champion? Is it still Ginny? I'm not sure. I
I'm
really
not
don't
quite
know.
sure either.
Who
No, I'm
is
not
the
sure.
and this is things that progress instead of trying to flog a t-shirt or promote awareness on a great charity. Don't get me wrong. Maybe you need to focus on the product a bit more. That is the important thing. Instead of, I saw a post today about the speaking out inquiry that Parliament are getting involved in as well. And again, it's
Yeah, I
just
saw
like,
that.
second, yeah, like you're all talking about speaking out now, but where was you when it was happening? When was it when you had
Yeah,
boys roster who were on shows, and I mean, whether or not they knew the strength of these allegations before is neither here nor there. The fact that it's taken people to come out, and not all these allegations were true. We know that the high-profile ones that were true, they're the ones who lost their jobs and are no longer within the professional wrestling circuit. But there are those that got stung they were false allegations. So while it is good to be speaking out about these are things that you don't need to. Well, you do need to highlight them. Don't get me wrong. But why is Parliament getting involved? There are more important
yeah,
things Parliament should be with. One of those is not British professional wrestling. Quite frankly, in
yeah.
my
I
opinion.
100% agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it should be law enforcement, not the Parliament.
No,
So
yeah,
again, it's a thing to highlight, but I think the strength in which certain people are trying to promote it, I think it's more about the wrestling promoting, trying to show goodness, to try and curry favor than actually the problem, which is unfortunately, as in any occupation, a couple of bad eggs that need to be dumped.
yeah. So if we go back time a bit, what was the feeling when this is one of the requested things for topics. What was the feeling when you won the Progress Championship?
I mean, I've been asked this question before, and I'm always welcome to answer the question again. Of course, it was one of the highlights of my career. It was an opportunity that was thrust upon me, and opportunity arose, and I took it. Given the realms of professional wrestling, it was a fantastic moment. I mean, if you look at the level of competitors that were involved in that moment, you had Tommy End, Alistair Black, and Marty Skull, the villain, having a great match.
Yeah,
There was a fantastic between the two, back and forth. Marty Skull, the villain, come on top with his little Dick Dastardly like one or bested
yeah,
story time, which left a bad taste in the fans' mouths, which is always a good thing in terms of the villain actually being a villain, thank his talent. And then I came out at the end, saw Tommy End. Tommy End, which, if I could go back, the only thing I would change is Tommy End trying to give me a blessing, get back, sir. I went in there. I was so in the moment, it was untrue. Going up to
yeah,
Smallman, time, it's time, it's time. Uh, Chris Roberts again. The level of that guy, I really like Chris Roberts, but we won't go into those matters. Chris
no,
Roberts, run. Marty Skull gets up and he gets what's coming. The clothesline from heaven, bang, 1, 2, 3, and just the reaction. Even to this day, like I'm so grateful. 2016, nearly 4 years ago now. I think it's just past 4 years.
yeah. I mean, just looking back at it, for me, it's just amazing to watch you win the championship, and it always makes me happy. You still there? Hello? You still there?
Oh, sorry, I just put you on hold. Hold on. Sorry, 1 second, sir. Don't
Okay,
know
that's
why.
fine.
You still here?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Sorry, mate. I just had a call come through. That's okay.
Oh no,
But yeah,
that's fine.
sorry.
That's fine. Sorry, I didn't realise.
Oh no, that's all right. No, but yeah, like progress. What was it chapter 32, 5,000 to 1? You already had Johnny Gargano and Mark Haskins have a cracking match, which Haskins come out and Tom won the smash. championship out of Canada, which was really, really a good win for him over Johnny Gargano, Mr. I don't know what Mr. is, Mr. Johnny Wrestling. Anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it was a fantastic moment for me. And like I said, the reaction of the 7,000 in attendance, sorry, 7,000, excuse me, pull a zero off the end of that. It felt like 7,000, it was 700. And yeah, like I just went with it. I got to crowd surf in the Electric Ballroom where like bands like the Smiths have played at. And yeah, it was a real fantastic moment. The crowd really happy. They left, like I said, Marty Scurll had left a bad taste in their mouth by retaining. But that soon changed once I hit Marty harder than I hit Sebastian at Brixton. So yeah, just a fantastic moment. I'll be forever grateful for that moment. And you know, you never ever you can never say never, but I think it's very possible that I could recreate that moment in the ballroom once more if the opportunity risen and I put myself to become the #1 contender for the Progress title again. The Progress World Championship.
I would love to see you as a champion again. It would make my day, honestly.
I appreciate that. You know, like yeah, like I said, but at the end of the day, it would come down to who'd be the better man, whoever the champion would be at the time. Seeing as it's Cara Noir at the moment, I know Cara very well. We've wrestled in the past. We've trained together. A ton of respect for him. But yeah, if I was approached by Progress and you know they had given me dates, I would train harder than I've ever trained. Not to say I'm not training as hard as I could be at the moment, but yeah, it's really down to Progress. If Progress want it, if they want to give me an opportunity, they want to see me redeem myself once more. Yeah. If not, there are other avenues I wish to progress and achieve. Wrestling is part of the goal, but it's no longer the goal. So, yeah. Only time will tell.
So, what are your social medias? If people want to get in touch with you or follow you, see what you're doing.
If people wish to follow my consistent ramblings and good stuff, you can find me on Facebook. William Eaver is my Facebook page. Bill Eaver, GHEBILLEAVER on Instagram. WWEaver Believer on Twitter. And I'm also on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel with a modest subscription or subscribers. That's again, it's William Eaver. Just type in William Eaver into the search bar in YouTube, and a load of things will come up. But mainly, I'd love more subscribers. More subscribers means more potential, more scope, and the goal for that at the moment is to get 1,000 subscribers, so I can kind of start doing more content, live talks on YouTube. So those are the handles and places you can find me if you wish. It's down to the individual. Right now, I think it's closing. Not now. Sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah.
So please follow William and subscribe to his YouTube channel. If you want to get in touch with me and see what I'm up to, my Instagram is KyleRogers9977. My Twitter is GallusKyle. And my YouTube is Kyle Wrestling. Thank you for listening today and see you in the next podcast.
All the best.